Hello, fantasy football friends, frenemies, and Ian. To start, welcome to Casa de Wong. You are in my kitchen. But let's also recap the most important matchup of last week, and that is my own. Of course, this is my recap. Now, this is going to be a full-fledged 20-minute breakdown. I'm just kidding, no, it's not. But I must give props to my second highest player on my team, Matt Bryant, Atlanta Falcons kicker, and I think everyone knows that the scoring system is a little janky when your kicker outpaces your wide receivers individually and running backs and tight ends combined. Personally, I'm a fan of points per reception, not to change the standard for how it's been for the last 2 years, but something to consider for next year. And I'm happy to say I got my second win of the season thanks to Sage's defunct team on bye week. Ian, we'll see if you can revenge your fallen brother. And I'm finally starting to get on a roll, but with 4 weeks remaining, I have to win pretty much all of my next four matchups, and then Smash, Gumptions, Firestorm, and Sage would also have to lose all of their games in order for me to get to playoff contention. So I think we know how that's not going to work out. But Jim, could you explain some of my feelings here?
Or like the Great Falls is the bedrock of my life, eroding beneath me. Eroding.
Well said. On to the next matchup. Lieutenant versus G Unit. Andy versus Andy 2.0. Married Andy versus single Andy. Broken-legged Andy versus non-broken-legged Andy. Big Andy versus small Andy. Korean Andy that's been learning Chinese for the past 2 years and is still at the same learning curve as ASL in 4 months versus Korean Andy, who I assume is still in the Korean congregation. What can I say? Andy won. But both being Andy, don't you feel like you beat yourself up? Jim, what's it like to kick your own ass?
What the hell are you doing?
I'm kicking my ass, Divine!
Flux versus Smash. Sebastian, stop changing your team name. I seriously don't know which team is yours because you change it all the time. But this matchup was a clear winner from the get-go. Ryan had projected points to win by 10 and ended up taking it by almost 30 points instead. Let me see. 2 players did something very surprising, and one being a big-time disappointment from Terrence West, 15 attempts, and then only getting 21 yards, measly 2.7 points for the game. But Sebastian, if you also traded for Devontae Booker, he would have also done horribly last week with only 3 fantasy points. Second, Cam Newton on Flux, he didn't do his signature QB sneak for a TD at the goal line. Jim, can you help demonstrate what that looks like?
351! 351! Rover, sit! Hut! Hut!
Exactly. Ryan did good by moving up from fifth to third place. Next matchup, Firestorm versus Mambas. Steve is too busy running his 24-hour service time shifts to replace his players on bye from his active roster. All that wasted QB talent, holding on to Rodgers and Prescott, and they're throwing their arm out to save your team. But even Aaron Rodgers can't pull a fantasy win for you. Even if he had the optimal lineup, this was an easy win for Ricky Van... I don't know. What's your last name? Ricky? Is Van your last name? I don't know. Also, Steve had 2 Oakland wide receivers starting, Michael Crabtree and Seth Rogers. But playing the Denver defense, they had a combined 59 yards on 5 catches. Jim, can you show them how to get open?
Sure. I'm open! I'm open! Over here!
Next matchup, Gumptions versus Trojans. James, what happened to your team? You must have gone in thinking that this was going to be an easy win and you were going to lock it up, make your way to first place. But injuries plagued your team and brought them down to nothing. Jim, can you give James some condolences?
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Steve came out with a huge win, jumping up 1 slot to 7th place. See you Sunday, fishing buddy. On to the next. Auto drafts versus Fat Damons. Ian, you tend to complain a lot, but somehow it ends up working really well for you and to your advantage. At Buffalo Wild Wings, I can't log in. What the heck? I'm signing in correctly. Yahoo's messing up my account. I'm missing all my draft picks. Oh, I used the wrong login. I'm in China and living in the future with slow internet connections. Oh, but I guess that means I have first dibs at free agents, and if I had played all of the right players on my bench, I would have had a high league points of 167.38. And so you easily beat Thomas. Sorry. Being in China, though, we can't see his happy dance at this time, but I presume it looks something like this. Jim, can you demonstrate it for us?
Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh?
Thanks, Jim. So, I think you all now know who my favorite actor is. Also, video editing is pretty hard, or I just suck at it. And lastly, looking forward to next week's, not even next week's, this week's matchups, this week's recap, and more Smack Talk.